Hello, everybody. Happy January 20th, 2021. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, I'm pleased to have a returning guest. He was on when this podcast first started, the offensive lineman for Southington, and he'll be going to Marist in the fall. Ryan Andrews. Ryan, it's great to have you back on again, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about in the next 25 to 30 minutes, man. But before we talk about any, as far as the football side and where you're going to school next, just want to ask how's your family doing and how's it been through all this crap, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Not too bad. I mean, things aren't normal, obviously, but we try to make do with and make things seem as comfortable and as usual as they would before all this stuff started. So it hasn't been too bad.
Now, as far as the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and then New Year's, how was that? Was it semi-normal? Because I can tell you, from my point of view, from Thanksgiving all the way up until my birthday, it did not feel normal to me.
Yeah, the holidays definitely weren't normal. I mean, I only saw my grandparents on Christmas Day, and it was just them. Usually we have like my aunts and uncles come and we do like a whole family thing, and we couldn't this year. It was just small little gathering, me, my mom, brother, and two grandparents.
Was there anything that you could have done or did do to try to at least bring some sort of normalcy with your family? Like, did you do like what we're doing, Zoom, FaceTime, anything like that?
I mean, not really. My aunt came and did like a drive-by Christmas because she's a teacher, so she didn't want to risk getting any other like she teaches kindergarten. She wanted to risk any little kids getting sick, so she decided that she was just going to do a drive-by Christmas. So she came by, dropped off presents and stuff, and then we just talked outside of my house.
I mean, who would have thought, as far as even before COVID, that Christmas of 2020 would be something like that, man? It's
Yeah, I know.
crazy. But the reason why I have you on, obviously, first part, we'll be talking about the football side. When I had you on, you and I were going back and forth about potentially there being a season. There was talks as far as things were in the works and
Yep.
you guys were going to be training and such. And then all the stuff that happened after that. I mean, I just want to get kind of, what were you going through? What was it like being dragged through the mud as you and everybody else in Connecticut was?
Well, I mean, we didn't really think about the possibility of it not happening. We just trained like it was going to happen. I mean, that's the mentality that Coach Drury tried to instill in us. So that's what we did. We just kept training and kept working and kept on believing that we were going to have a season. And when it didn't happen, we just knew that all that work was it wasn't wasted, but it was it was wasted, but it wasn't wasted by us. We didn't miss our opportunity. I mean, we did, but we didn't miss our opportunity while we were actually playing the game that we wanted to. It wasn't like a regular season heartbreak. It was before the season, like if we were suspended or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the mentality was really just work and wait until a decision happens.
During obviously the early stages when you guys were training, how was the turnout? Because Coach Drury I've had on, and he's a great coach, and what he's done for the young men at Southington. I feel like the turnout, even though there was a chance of there not being a season at the time, to me, I felt like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt like the turnout must have been pretty high as far as kids coming.
Oh yeah, the whole team was there. It was nobody skipped. Well, not nobody. A couple of kids decided not to play because of like health scares and like family reasons, and that's completely fine. They wanted to stay safe, and there's nothing wrong with that. But everybody else that decided to play showed up, and the numbers were strong still this year. There was only a handful of kids that decided to opt out.
And during, obviously, from there on out, there was the chance of playing, pausing, not playing. There's a chance, oh, you're canceled, and then potential, which was 7-on-7. How was it between you? First, we'll do you and the players, but then, yourself a player with your other teammates. Just how was that like? Because I'm sure there must have been a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, there really was because like day in day out we didn't know what was going to be happening, if what we were doing was going to be worth it all, because we didn't know if what we were working towards was even going to be a thing that was possible this year. So it was definitely a really anxious feeling amongst the team. But I mean, it didn't really change how we acted or what we did while we were there. I mean, we still did our normal stuff. We just had to go by the protocols and all that not nonsense, but all that jazz.
Was there ever a time for you that because again, you're a very hard worker, hence why you're going to Marist, a very good football program at the next level. But was there ever a time, either during workouts or even in the morning, if you have your own workout and such, where you were like, "Man, I don't know if I'm feeling it because I don't even know if there's going to be a chance to be able to play. Is this for nothing?" Like I can only imagine what was going through your mind.
I mean, for me, not really, because I knew in my head I would be at the next level soon, so I still needed to work. But for other kids, definitely. Like some of my teammates that I know that weren't playing at the next level, like some of them I knew were like, "What are we doing?" And then when they would stray, you just have to be like, "Hey, we're here just in case we get blessed with the opportunity to have a season." We didn't, but that was a mentality you have to have in order to keep your head down and keep grinding.
Would you say that in some ways, because Southington has so much talent from top to bottom, and there's always a good number of kids every year who play at the next level? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is, do you think that because of that, it kind of helped the players who kind of were teetering amongst, I don't know if we're going to play at the next level, or, even if there's going to be a season or not, but just to kind of push them to the finish line and say, hey, even though there wasn't a season, we still finished strong as a team, and that can't be taken away from us.
That was definitely the mindset through all of us. I mean, the other day when our secondary season got canceled, we were doing morning liftings already. We had been doing them for a week, and the night before we had another one, the season got canceled. So we all texted in the group chat and decided that we were still going to show up no matter what, because I mean, they took it away from us, but they can't take this away because Coach Drury still got it open for everybody else in the off-season program. So why not go there and lift as a team still?
Yeah, I think again, because of this whole pandemic, man, to be able to have that team unity and be able to stay as a team all the way to the finish line is extremely strong because I'm sure, not to air the dirty laundry of players who were probably going through a lot during this pandemic, but I could imagine there was, a number of players who were dealing with things maybe on the field as far as stress, but also off the field with what COVID has done to families with the money side, and maybe a player knew of someone who was sick and so on.
Yeah, I mean, times were a little bit, not a little bit, but stressful. But I mean, the little bit of normalcy that we got while training was really, I mean, I think we all thought it was a nice little boost to getting back to what we thought was normal. So,
And as far as Coach Drury is concerned, when the season was canceled for the second time, I mean, the first time everybody was devastated, and again, words can't describe what the emotion was like. And
yeah,
then when it was canceled for a second time, I tweeted out, it's like a nightmare being relived again. I mean,
it really is. We, I mean, if they're just going to cancel us again and cancel the secondary season, what were all those protests and marches and GoFundMe's and all this stuff for? What was it all for? I mean, I don't know. I mean, the decision, it doesn't make sense in my eyes, but I'm not the one that has to make that decision, so I can't really rag upon it. It is what it is at this point.
I know the 7-on-7 being an offensive lineman was not something that was, and understandably so. I mean, I would be pretty mad too if there was an event where I couldn't get on the field technically and
Yeah,
be with my team as far as being, on the field.
yeah.
Just take me into that because I'm sure, again, going back to the emotions with, potential season or not, hearing that news must have been even worse in some ways.
It was, but at the same time, Southington was really lucky. We got to do an independent season, so we ended up still playing. But when before that all happened, before the independent season happened, when it was just 7-on-7, it was pretty devastating because all we were doing was lineman challenges. And while that's competition, that's not football. That's not what we're here for. Like it's great off-season stuff, but it wasn't supposed to be the off-season. We were supposed to be knocking heads and making plays, you know?
I like that, knocking heads. No, I can tell you that much. The Dallas I'm telling you, every single time I watch the Dallas Cowboys play, because you're a Giants fan and you guys have a very good team as far
Yep.
as going forward. Every time I watched the Cowboys and I saw their problems at the offensive line, I was like, you know what? They need Ryan Andrews. They need him at left
Yeah.
tackle.
I don't know about that. I mean, they got to go up against guys like Chris Jones and Aaron Donald, and I don't think I'm built for that yet.
Yet though, hey, you keep putting
Oh
it,
yeah,
man.
I added the yet. We could get there, you know.
Well, man, I think again, it's great to be able to have you back on and be able to kind of relive this in a positive way, because just be able to talk about it and such.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the 7-on-7 as far as kind of what transpired with that. I know some teams were able to maximize on it, other teams were not. But for the teams that were able to do like yourself with the independent leagues,
Yeah.
how was that? Because in talking with some people who participated, it kind of almost seemed like a secret gathering that nobody wanted to talk about. That it, you know,
I mean, it wasn't a secret per se, but I mean, it's not like there was it's not like there was crowds at games. It was just family members and stuff. It was really like you were playing a youth game again. It was starting back at your roots, just your parents in the stands, and you playing the game with your teammates. That's really all it was. Personally, I mean, I like the experience with fans more, obviously, but I enjoyed the experience of like reliving back in the day. Playing as a little kid when you first learned to love the game. It was kind of nice to just relive that a little bit, but I could see why some players wouldn't enjoy it.
how many games did you play in the independent league?
We only got 3.
3. Well, I mean, it's better
Yeah,
than
well,
none.
not only, but we were supposed to get like 6, I think.
And I think Lamont was the one who kind of put the kibosh on it, which is what halted your guys' season, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's again, that was another thing too. I was glad that at least some games were able to be played, but
yeah.
when I heard that the season was going to start, I thought Lamont was going to end it right then and there. I'm surprised it even went as long as it did.
I mean, a welcome surprise, I guess. I mean, what we got is what we got, and I'm not upset about it. I just wish we could have gotten more. That's it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much else you could do, like I said earlier.
Do you think playing in in the independent league, as far as getting a little bit more tape and such to be able to show to colleges and prep schools and such helped in any way?
I mean, I think so a little bit, yeah, because in my honest opinion, those 3 games were some of the best football I've played in my life. So, I mean, it was pretty good to have that kind of stuff on film.
Now, why was it, as far as in your opinion, the best games that you've played?
I don't know. It was, what I was doing was just really clicking for me. I just felt good about the way I was playing.
Can you describe, as far as, was it just you felt confident? Was it your technique? You felt like everything was just kind of going in symphony? Just tell me about it.
Pretty much everything was really just gelling together. I mean, I was working with my coach, not like not off season, but when we would be at liftings, we would stay a little bit. The line would stay a little bit after and do some work and get some stuff in. And I feel like personally and as a whole, our O line got better for it. And I think we were pretty good this year. And if we got a chance to show it off, we could have been really good. But
I feel like that's like a lot of teams. I mean, Coggenshaw, whose offense was very prolific. I mean, they have a player in Evan Fiala who has 21, 22 offers. It's ridiculous,
yeah, that's
you
crazy.
know?
That's
And then you think about Southington, like yourselves, the Hogs, the offensive line,
yeah,
like you said, knocking heads. You would have been doing a lot of that this season if there was
yeah,
one. I mean, there's so many situations and teams who could have had an opportunity to do so much. Because I know as offensive linemen, you guys are like, basically, those are like your brothers, your
yeah.
non-blood brothers. Do you guys ever kind of talk, text, phone call, whatever, and say, hey, if we had a season, we could have really done something this year?
Definitely, definitely. Because in the games that we did play, it felt like every time we would run a run play, it was the hole was there. It felt like every time we would do something, like obviously we had our missteps and everyone does, but it felt like just we were high motor the whole time, and everything was just really working out.
It's a real shame, man, that a season cannot be played. But looking at the positive side, as far as for you to be able to get your film out now, what kind of communication, like, was it early on during the pandemic, as far as with Marist and some of these other schools, or was it late into the process?
Um, Marist was definitely earlier than most, but a lot of schools and I were talking during like August, September ish, and then it died down a little bit, and then I started talking to more prep schools, and then the prep schools really took me into my commitment, and then I just decided that I wanted to go to Marist.
So what about Marist really kind of stuck with you? Because obviously, because of COVID and everything, there were certain restrictions that you couldn't do,
Yeah,
as you could do before COVID.
yeah. I mean, with Marist, it was really just the good things that I've heard about it. Like I got to take a trip up there and do a regular just admissions tour, and I got to see the school, and I really liked it up there. And then just from everything that I've heard from people that have had experiences up there, it's just it seemed like there was no reason not to. You know.
Was there any particular player or coach that you talked to who you just had an instant connection right off the bat?
Coach Dembo, definitely.
No, why?
He's the O line coach at Marist. Yeah, he was the first one that recruited me. He texted me first, and that he basically hit it off from there. Me and Coach Dembo connect almost every week.
Now, kind of just, take me into that first conversation that you had with Coach Dembo, because being an offensive line coach, I'm sure he's talked to a plethora of offensive linemen. So I'm sure it was just like you guys just talking shop.
Yeah, basically that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much how it is every time we talk. I mean, not to not to be a gatekeeper or anything, but offensive linemen are kind of their own brotherhood. So we know how to talk our own lingo and how to communicate with each other with regular people not understanding too much of it. You know.
Oh, I completely understand what you're saying. I mean, I'm a former left-handed pitcher, and when I was in college, we there was a group of left-handed pitchers who we had our own thing, and then it was the
Yeah.
bunch of everybody else. And then same thing, even you could probably attest to quarterbacks too.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks kind of have their own lingo, and it's like, well,
Uh-huh.
we don't understand him, but we're offensive linemen, so it doesn't matter.
Don't even get me started on DBs too.
Why? What's wrong with DBs?
Oh, talk so much.
I mean, come on, they all want to be Deion Sanders, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah. And I
So,
want to be Larry Allen.
hey, never know, man.
Uh,
Don't put it against you. But
you
hey,
never know.
seriously, to go back to Coach Dembo for a second, what was the conversations like? Going back to the first conversation, was it kind of more what you needed to work on, or was it just like we mentioned, just talking about the position, talking about the program, and so on?
Just it was really talking about the program, really like explaining what the philosophy is, what it's going to be like when I get up there, what their workouts are like, what things are going to happen when I show up there, and it was really just it all really seemed like something I would enjoy. So that was a big part of what my decision was talking to Coach Dembo and how he recruited me. Basically, that was a big part of it.
And seeing what the next couple years could be like is very important, because as any professional, not professional, hopefully professional one day, but as for any collegiate athlete, you want to be able to stay in one place. I mean, I can't tell you how many young men and women who I've talked to have gone to various schools, even going back to my playing days. And I
Yeah,
understand that there's reasons why, and I respect that and understand it. But others, it's just you don't want to be moving around. You want to stay in one place and
yeah.
build the chemistry. So for you, what are they seeing you as the incoming freshman at Marist?
As in,
As in, like, how are they viewing you? Are they seeing you as starting right off the bat, or is it something where they want to see what you can, like,
I
you kind of have some things to work on?
I mean, we really haven't talked about that much yet. I know that they do have a lot of recruits coming in for O line this year, so that to me, I would figure that would mean that there's going to be a lot of competition this year, but I'm not really sure. We haven't really talked about that much.
I feel like the competition is, again, Southington, going back to even in your early days, having to compete, going up against the very best.
Yep.
and not taking anything away, not knowing the other offensive linemen and what they had to compete against. But I feel like looking at you specifically, because you've been tested at such a young age, it's kind of even going to be like just like going right to Southington, where, all right, I'm just going to have to compete. And like you said, knocking heads,
Yep.
you know, that's
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, I all I can hope for is the chance to compete. That's really all you can hope for. So, I mean, if I get it, then I'm obviously going to put my 100% best to it, and if not, then I'm going to play my role and enjoy doing it.
now, as far as the vision of the program, what was Coach Dembo selling for the Marist program itself?
He was really just selling hard nosed football. It's really what they preach. I mean, you're gonna play smart and you're gonna hit someone, which is really Coach Drury's mentality. So, yeah, obviously, I'm gonna fit right in with that.
What kind of offense do they run? Are they a running prolific offense? Are they spread? Do you know anything about that?
Um, I believe they're a zone running team, but don't quote me on that. So I don't really know, but I've done zone and gap, so I mean, can handle the swing.
I was going to say, anytime you run the football, the offensive linemen are getting right in the middle of it. So
Yeah,
that's right into your, that's like your bread and butter right there.
yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, hey, seriously, congrats on being able to get into Marist and being able to play the next 4 years as far as to continue your now what will be a college career. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, hey, once again, we're just about running out of time, Ryan, but hey, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on. And hopefully I can get you back on either before you go to Marist or at some point. And I'm hoping that you will have a season so that you can get back on being on the field and doing what you love doing.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah. Well, just shoot me a text or anything whenever you want me to come back on.
Always. I mean, hey, I'm sure you're going to be texting me during the draft, telling me about how the Giants got, you know, a litter of players that you probably love, right?
Jalen Waddle, let's go.
Now, since I have you real quick, since you're an offensive lineman,
Yeah.
what was your opinion on the kid from Georgia, the first round pick?
Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, what was your
He,
opinion on him? Because he
he, he
he was
he's
in the
not bad.
doghouse. He was in the doghouse earlier in the year. Joe
He
Judge
was,
had
but
him.
yeah, he dug himself out of that doghouse, and he was also playing on a kind of a bum ankle too, and he was holding up well. So I mean, if he can come back at 100%, I think he can be pretty good.
Now, again, since you're an offensive lineman, that's why I have you here. When you're
Yeah,
watching your favorite team play, and I'm sure you're watching the offensive line specifically, is there
yeah.
ever a time where you're sitting there like you can kind of dissect what they're doing wrong?
I mean, yeah, but not many times do they really do stuff wrong. I mean, they're that's what they're paid for. But when you do see something wrong, it definitely pops out because it's not usually something wrong. So
Mhm.
when something happens, obviously you can tell. I mean, you can see what's happening and what's developing, what's going to go wrong, and then if they fix it, you can also see what they fix too. I mean, any player that knows how to study film and knows technique can do that.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the Giants as far as the beginning of the season, I felt like that kind of was like the preseason because new coach, new players, new staff. And
Yeah.
then about week 4, week 5, which typically would be week 1 after the preseason, they
Yep.
started getting better. And then obviously they peaked beating Seattle. But
Yeah.
still, the offensive line played great. They protected McCoy and the defense, man. I don't know if you know this, but Patrick Graham is from Connecticut. He's a
Oh, really?
former he's a former Crosby coach. He also played at Yale. He's coached around. He's been around a lot of big time football guys. And
I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, defensive coordinator for the Giants. He's a
Wow.
Waterbury guy.
Huh. Wow.
So hey,
Yeah.
if you end up getting drafted by the Giants one day, you'll know Patrick Graham if he's still there.
Yeah. Really.
But hey, Ryan, it's a pleasure to be able to have you on, man. Again, really happy to see you be able to have an opportunity to continue at the next level and play at Marist, and hopefully there'll be brighter days ahead for you, your playing career, and overall with school as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. I'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent, and I'm on a journey to find them all. Have a good one, everybody, and be well.